Rolex makes about 1 million watches a year. Their factories could make 5 times that. They don't. And in 2024, their waiting list grew longer, not shorter, while their profits hit the highest point in the company's 120-year history. The scarcity isn't an accident, it's the product. So let's see how it actually works. Rolex sells the best-known luxury watch brand on the planet, roughly 30% of the entire Swiss luxury watch market, and over 10 billion Swiss francs in wholesale revenue in 2023. Walk into any Rolex boutique today and ask for a Steel Submariner, a Daytona, or a GMT Master. The answer will be the same. There's a waiting list. The wait can run from 12 months to never. Those same watches trade on the secondary market at double to triple retail. Rolex engineers the scarcity. How do you engineer scarcity at industrial scale? Rolex is owned by the Hans Wilsdorf Foundation, a Swiss charitable trust established in 1945. Hans Wilsdorf, the company's founder, set up the foundation after his wife's death and willed his entire stake to it. He had no heirs. The structure ensured Rolex would never be sold, never go public, and never answer to anyone but the foundation's trustees. That single decision shaped everything that followed. Rolex has no shareholders, no public stock, no pressure to grow quarterly revenue, no investors asking why the company isn't maximizing production. Most luxury brands chase short-term sales targets because public markets demand it. LVMH, Richemont, Swatch Group, all publicly traded. Their executives answer to analysts every 3 months. Rolex answers only to a foundation whose mandate is preserving the brand's long-term value. That allows patience no public company can match. Production is entirely vertically integrated across 4 Swiss manufacturing sites, employing around 9,000 people combined. Rolex smelts its own gold, machines its own movements, manufactures its own cases, creates its own dials. There is no outsourcing. Morgan Stanley analysts estimate Rolex operates at roughly 60% of theoretical capacity. The tooling exists. The demand exists. They simply choose not to expand. The allocation system flows from this. Rolex sells exclusively through roughly 1,800 authorized dealers worldwide. Each dealer receives a quarterly allocation, specific models, specific quantities. Steel sports models are the most restricted. A large dealer in a major city might receive 4 Daytonas per year. Those dealers decide who gets them. Customers with purchase history get priority. New customers get waitlisted. The system is entirely opaque. Rolex doesn't publish allocation rules. There's no public list of qualifying customers, no tier system, just a private relationship between the dealer and whoever they've decided deserves the next watch. The result, a product that appears to be undersupplied by accident, is actually undersupplied by design. But manufacturing scarcity is only half the story. The other half is why the scarcity keeps working, decade after decade. Most engineered scarcity fails over time. Prices rise, competitors enter, customers defect. Rolex has resisted that pattern for 60 years. Part of it is product discipline. The Submariner launched in 1953. The modern Submariner looks nearly identical. Same with the Daytona, the GMT Master, the Datejust. A Rolex bought today will still look like a Rolex in 40 years. Compare that to fashion-driven luxury. Gucci has cycled through 3 different aesthetics in 15 years. Rolex doesn't pivot, it refines. Part of it is the secondary market. Rolex doesn't just tolerate the grey market, it needs it. Steel Daytonas retail for roughly $14,000. On the secondary market, they trade for $35,000 to $40,000. That spread isn't a bug. It's proof the system works. When a watch sells for triple retail within hours of leaving the boutique, the brand gains something more valuable than immediate revenue. It gains proof of demand. Every secondary market transaction is free advertising. Every resale listing reinforces the idea that Rolex watches are investments, not purchases. Compare that to brands that chase volume. Omega produces more watches than Rolex. Its secondary market is a graveyard of discounted inventory. Tag Heuer floods authorized dealers. Its watches depreciate immediately. Rolex buyers never wait for sales because there are no sales. If authorized dealers ever discounted, the entire pricing structure would collapse. The foundation's ownership ensures they never face that pressure. The marketing budget reinforces the lock-in. An estimated $300 million annually on tennis, golf, motor racing, sailing, sports of established wealth. No celebrities, no reality TV placements. The brand aligns with endurance, not fashion. But here's where the business model gets genuinely interesting. So let's follow the money. In August 2023, Rolex acquired Bucherer, the largest independent watch retailer in Europe, for an estimated 3 billion Swiss francs. Bucherer operates around 100 stores across Europe and the United States. Roughly 2/3 of Bucherer's revenue comes from Rolex and Tudor sales. That acquisition wasn't about expanding distribution, it was about controlling it. Rolex now owns both the factory and the storefront. The 2024 numbers confirm the strategy. Rolex reduced production from 1.24 million units to 1.18 million, while profits climbed to record levels. Fewer watches, higher margins, longer waits. The secondary market absorbed the gap without hesitation. Steel submariners still trade at double retail. Daytonas still command triple. The spread hasn't collapsed because the supply discipline hasn't broken. The formula repeats wherever patience outlasts greed. Hermes restricts Birkin production to 70,000 bags annually, despite multiples of that demand. Ferrari caps deliveries below waiting lists. Patek Philippe stretches timelines across years. Rolex simply executed the same formula at a scale no other luxury brand has matched. 9 million watches, 10 billion francs, 30% market share, all controlled by a foundation with no shareholders, no quarterly targets, no incentive to flood supply. Rolex's scarcity compounds. Every year of disciplined allocation makes the next year's waitlist more credible. Every secondary market premium makes retail access more valuable. Every acquisition tightens control. What started as a strategy in the 1960s became infrastructure by the 2000s. The waiting list isn't marketing, it's architecture. Industrial-scale luxury with artisanal-level control. Mass production with bespoke allocation. A foundation that operates like a monopoly but faces no antitrust scrutiny because it technically competes in an open market. The shortage isn't a bug, it's the entire system. Next week, we're looking at how Hermes does the same thing with the Birkin bag, but with even tighter control over who's actually allowed to buy. Subscribe so you don't miss it. And here's the question I want to leave you with. Is engineered scarcity smart business, or is it a scam with better marketing? Pick a side. This is HEW. We're just getting started.